All right, guys, this time we're going to turn to our official 10-7 notes, and we're going to start to take a look at area. One of the first things I wanted to point out to you was a new word, and it is the word sector. When you see the word sector of a circle, I just want you to think of a sector as being a piece of pizza or a slice of pizza, however you want to think about it. So for our circle right over here, a sector, so sector RST, would just be RST and his arc. So this whole entire thing right here would be a sector of our circle. Again, I like to think of them as a piece of pizza, a round circle. One thing I also wanted to point out to you was the formula for area of a circle. I think most of you know it to be pi r squared. It is also on your foldable. Don't forget that the radius is half of the diameter. That is an important thing for us to remember as we go through our questions. All right, let's take a look at problem number 1. We are going to continue to set up our problems the same way that we always have. If I want to know the area of a circle, well, then I'm going to use the area formula. I know that my area formula is pi r squared. I know I need the radius for this problem, but my problem is that I'm not given the radius. I'm given the diameter. And I got that from right here. So I just have to remember that when I go ahead and do my problem, he really does want the radius, so I'm going to have to cut my diameter in half. So half of 42, 21. And so when I do my area problem, I just need to make sure I use the 21 instead of the 42. Typing that into my calculator. So 21 squared. I can either write that as 441 pi. That would be not pushing the pi button. Or what you probably did was 1,385.4. And I'm in feet, and this is area, so feet squared. There you go, Max. I put the answer in red just for you. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the next question. That was a pretty basic one. The next set of questions, they're going to look a lot like the circumference, the pizza crust problems that we did in the very end of lesson 10-6, so the ones that we just did. Okay, so take a second. I want you to read the question. So read this question right here, and take a minute to look at this picture. I know it's not beautiful, but it should help. Okay, remember when it says sector, it means a piece of pizza. So I want the area of a piece of pizza that has a 45-degree minor arc. Well, we know that if it's a 45-degree arc, we also know that it's a 45-degree angle because you are what you eat. And so looking at my picture then, I would like to know how much pizza I'm eating. So I'm going to set up my problem the same way I did before, only this time I'm dealing with area, not circumference. So I need to find the total area, then figure out how much of the pizza I'm eating, and multiply that by the total. So my area formula is pi r squared. So my area total is going to be pi times r squared. My radius is 4. So 4 squared times pi, which gives me 16 pi. So there's my total amount. The area of my piece will be how much I'm eating. So this time I'm eating 45 degrees out of a total 360 degrees. So 45 3/60ths of, that's the times, the total. And technically they did ask us to leave our answer in terms of pi, which just means I'm going to do the math, but I'm not going to push the pi button. And instead, I'll just write pi in my answer. So I'm typing in 45 divided by 360 times 16. And so my answer comes out to be 2 pi. That's because I did not push the pi button. I just did all the math without the pi. And we are area inches. There we are. Inches squared. If you did push the pi button, you'd end up with about 6.28 inches squared. All right, so that's the size of my piece of pizza. If I ate 45 degrees out of the total 360 degrees in that particular pizza, that means that I would eat 2 pi inches squared of pizza. All right, these are the types of questions that are going to be on your test concerning this. The question I'm going to go over next is not a test question, but you are going to get a couple questions in your homework on it. So I wanted to take a minute and go over it with you. All right, so in these questions, we're going to look at the area of a segment. And I know that when we think of a segment, we normally think of like a line segment, but in this case, we want a segment of a circle. There's my cursor. All right, so the segment of a circle is actually this blue piece right here. And so when we take a look at what the segment of a circle is, we would want to look at, I'm gonna move those guys out of the way, the whole sector, so the piece of pizza, what we did in the problem just before this one. If we took away that triangle part of it, we would be left with this blue part of it right here. And this is called the segment of the circle. So it's the area of the segment. It's any line that goes through my circle. All right, so I'm just going to go through for just a second and show you how to do this type of a question. It's using all skills we already know. And we're going to follow this pattern. Find the whole piece of pizza, take away that triangle, and I'll be left with what I want. Okay, and here's problem number 3. I'm given this picture right over here. I know my radius is 4 meters. I know this guy here is a 90-degree angle. I'm going to do what I did in the problem before this one. So this one right here at the very bottom, take a look at the total, find the area of the piece. That's what I'm going to do first. So my total area of my whole circle, not just the purple section, but the whole entire circle, would be not 16 pi. It would be, 4 pi squared. Sorry, I thought they doubled it for a second there. So I'm going to take the radius of 4, square it, times it by pi, so my total area is 16 pi. The piece, I know that I'm eating 90 degrees. See my 90-degree angle right there in the picture? So I'm eating 90 degrees out of the total 360 degrees times my total area. So I'm eating 93/60ths of the total. So I do my math and I get about 12.56 or 4 pi. 4 pi right here, this number, represents this purple piece of pizza. So that whole purple piece of pizza, that's what the 4 pi is talking about. I've done step number 1. Now I need to take away the triangle. And in this case, it's the orange triangle. Okay, so area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. But there's this special little secret formula that I haven't told you guys yet. And it is 1/2 times the side, times the side, times the sine of the angle. And you've actually used this before, you just didn't know it. It's useful when you don't know the height of your triangle. And so we're going to go ahead and use that formula today. You could use the sine function to determine your height. And that's essentially what we're doing. It's what you're doing in the first part of your test as well. But for right now, we're just going to go ahead and use this formula. You can write it down. It's useful. It's not necessary. All right, so then the area of my triangle then would be 1/2 times the side. Well, my side's 4. Both of these guys are radiuses or radii, and so they're going to be the same. So 1/2 times 4 times 4 times the sine of my angle. And my angle happens to be 90 degrees. Type that into my calculator, and I get 8. So I just found out that the area of the orange triangle is 8. Step 1, find the whole piece of pizza. Step 2, find the triangle. Step 3, subtract them and I'll get what I want. So that's what I'm going to do. If I want the area right here of my green piece, I'm going to take then that 4 pi from over here, the whole piece of pizza. I'm going to subtract the green triangle, that's this guy right here, and I'll get what I want. So I have my 12.57. I'm going to take away the 8, that's the triangle, and I'll be left with what I want, which is incidentally not 0.2. So 4 pi minus 8 leaves me with 4.56 meters squared, and that's the area of the green sector, or the green segment of my circle. Again, there'll be some homework questions on this. This will not be a test question. All right, last but not least for today, our lesson check. I would like you to hit pause. I would like you to take a minute to work on these 3 questions with your neighbor. I will leave the solutions right here for you. Can we see them all? Yep, I think that's everything. And if you need help, just go ahead and work with your neighbor on this one. But otherwise, once you're done with your notes for today, go ahead and work on assignment number 6. Make your help sheet. Ask any questions about your test. And if you need anything, let me know. I'll be here after lunch.